All right, what's up, guys? I'm gonna get right into it. It's been a while, but I'm gonna talk about the fight last night. Great fight, great fight. It was even better than the first fight. The first fight was a great fight, but this fight was potentially fight of the year, one of the better fights, one of my favorite fights this year. And I'm able to really draw conclusions about both fighters after watching this fight. A lot of questions have been answered with this fight. Okay. I wanted it to be a draw because it was so competitive, but I honestly was more impressed with Canelo, what he did in this fight. I thought Triple G did a little bit more in the first fight to edge it. I thought Canelo did more in this fight to edge it, okay? Not upset at the score. Obviously, I think Canelo barely won. I would like to watch the fight again because I just think, being in a fight party setting, people know I'm into boxing, so they're all asking me questions. I'm eating, I'm drinking, we're, talking shit, we having a good time. I would like to watch the fight again, but, this is just my thoughts for right now. I'll probably do a follow-up video. Maybe I will at some point, but what I think about the fight is, Canelo, I've criticized him for years for certain things. A couple of gift wins that I thought he got. One judge calling the Mayweather fight a draw. What else was there? I thought Lara beat him. I thought the Trout fight was a lot closer and could have gone either way. The catch weights, the clenbuterol, all of this stuff that he's been, that's gone over the years. Fighting guys that I felt was small, much smaller than him. Being a weight bully. There's a lot of things that I've always liked Canelo because I thought he was very skillful. But he answered a lot of questions, and he proved to me that he's really a complete fighter. He's really a pound-for-pound fighter. He's not just a star. For him to walk down Triple G for 12 rounds like that, okay, I was very impressed. Regardless of Triple G and his age and shit like that, I don't know what people are saying out there. I really don't know. I haven't really even heard too many opinions out there. But I was very impressed with Canelo. For Canelo to walk him down like that, come forward like that, he did get hit a lot more in this fight, but I was very impressed. He was in control. He was the ring general in this fight, in my opinion. He landed the cleaner, better power shots, in my opinion. Triple G stayed in this fight because of his jab and his jab alone. Just like the first fight, but at least Triple G was walking him down. I felt like he landed better power shots in the first fight, barely, but I think Canelo looked better walking Triple G down than Triple G looked walking Canelo down. I think Canelo looked more impressive in both fights. It's just that the volume wasn't there in the first fight. He took too many breaks, and he just, wasn't enough to me, This fight, he looked better. Like I said, I think both fights were close, but Canelo looked better in this fight. He looked much better than he did in the first fight. He got hit more jabs, definitely got hit with more jabs, but he was more effective. He seemed like he hurt Triple G throughout the fight. He never really seemed bothered by anything that Triple G threw. One critique that I've always had with Golovkin, that many of us has had with Golovkin, is can he fight going backwards? And this was the first fight that I seen him actually fight on his back foot, and I wasn't really impressed. He didn't look confident in there. He looked very uncomfortable in there. He looked a little awkward at times. He couldn't sit down on his punches like he normally did. He didn't look powerful in there. I'm not trying to sit here and shit on him. It's just that I'm judging Triple G based on how we're used to seeing him. And he didn't look all that powerful. Even in some of the closer fights that we've seen recently, like the Canelo fight, after the first 2-3 rounds, he got into a decent rhythm. Whereas in this fight, he never really looked great to me. I mean, he went several rounds winning in a row, but it was more like Canelo was still coming forward. Canelo was still being a bully, even when he wasn't throwing anything. And I can't give him the win just based off jabs alone, you know? I just was more impressed with Canelo's work, you know? I'm sure people out there saying robbery and all that stuff. I mean, neither one of those fights were robberies, in my opinion. They were just too close. But I'm impressed with Canelo, you know? And like I said, I think he's a legit fighter. Like, he's not just the name, you know, at this point. I mean, for him to come back and do that well, and having fought, being that he hasn't fought since the last fight, you know, I think I'm very impressed with him, you know. But I would like to watch the fight again. As far as their futures, I mean, I would have loved to see a third fight, but there's so many fighters at 160 now. It's so loaded now. You got guys moving up from 54, like Andre and Charlo. You still got, you know, you got all these other guys that's there. You got Saunders. You got Daniel Jacobs still. Jacobs has got a tough fight coming up. Saunders and Andre is going to fight each other soon. There's a lot going on at 160. You see Lemieux. I'm expecting Lemieux to be Canelo's next opponent. That's going to be a nice little knockout for Canelo. But I was impressed with Canelo. You know, Triple G, I don't know what he's going to do now. You know, I think he's might going to go to 168. You know, but Triple G is not looking the same, you know. He's been having some tough fights. The first Canelo fight was tough. The Daniel Jacobs fight was tough. And, you know, the Kell Brook, for the time that it lasted, it was more competitive than the majority of Triple G fights. So, I don't know what he wants to do at this time. He has no belts anymore. As far as his legacy, I think it's already solidified. I thought it was a little blown out of proportion with, you know, the comparisons to Hopkins' record and stuff like that, you know, with those belts and, you know, the 4 main titles and winning world titles as opposed to, you know, all that WBA stuff. And I don't want to really get into all of that, but listen, he's a great middleweight, without a doubt, you know, but he wasn't undisputed, you know. He didn't become undisputed. Not saying he had to, but I would have loved for him to become undisputed. You know, I'm a big supporter of Triple G. You guys know that. I wanted him to chase the undisputed thing. I didn't even want him to chase Canelo, really, you know. But I know that's the big fight. I wanted him to become undisputed or try to go for that. You know, I wanted him to fight Saunders. But, you know, he's a great middleweight regardless. He lost to Canelo. But he had a great run. He beat some good fighters. But right now, 160 is better than what it was 5 years ago. You know, 4 or 5 years ago. You know, back then, you had Peter Quillen. He was one of the main guys. You had Sergio Martinez, who was on his way out, one of the top guys. You had Chavez Jr., you know, Daniel Gill and all those guys. You know, those guys... You know, Felix Sturm, that was a weaker time, you know, especially because a lot of those guys were older. This is a tougher time, and this is why Triple G has had tougher fights, and he's older. On top of that, so I don't know what he wants to do, you know. Obviously, he can still compete, and he can run, you know, he can fight with the best of them. But it's going to be tougher now, and if he continues to fight, he's going to catch some L's. You know, because there's other guys out there that are really, really good. You know, maybe he will. You know, maybe he won't. Maybe Canelo was the only guy. But I see Canelo right now as being the best middleweight. I'm just going to go straight there. Charlo, Andre, Saunders. You know, all of these guys are really, really good. Daniel Jacobs. I would love to see Canelo fight some of these guys. But right now, I think Canelo is the best right now. You know, if Canelo is to fight anyone, I think he's the most proven, and I'm going to run with him, you know. He's improved over the years, you know, even with those fights that I used to criticize him for. he's improved dramatically. You know, for him to be a great counterpuncher boxer and a great come forward fighter at that, I'm very impressed with Canelo. All right, overall. But I'll probably talk more about this fight in the future. I just wanted to give you guys some of my thoughts on the fight last night. I know I'm like way behind with stuff, but I just want to make a point. You know, Triple G, without going backwards and coming forwards and stuff like that, I really just, even when he was winning rounds and rounds that I gave him, he really didn't look impressive to me like that. You know, he looked very uncomfortable to me. And mentally, he looked scared to get hit. You know, he was flinching a lot. He just looked uncomfortable to me, you know. And, you know, I wouldn't really call, in some sort, he's kind of a bully. Even though he beat Daniel Jacobs, I thought that, you know, when you fight Golovkin back, like when you straight up square up with him, he's not as effective mentally. Like, he backs off a little bit, you know. When he gets hit to the body, he backs off. Doesn't look as strong, you know. And when you are fighting back and you're throwing bombs back at him, he's not the same. It's similar to how Kovalev, like recently in the Alvarez fight, you know, Kovalev is a bully. When he's in charge, when he's winning, when he's applying the pressure, he's great. He's great. He's very skillful. He hits hard. Volume is up. But when guys are fighting back and the power is not as effective as they're normally used to it being, they don't look the same, you know. Kovalev lost that last fight, but I seen quit in him before he lost. You know, I seen it again, just like I seen it in the Andre Ward rematch. You know, these guys are so dominant coming forward and being so powerful. When they're when people are literally fighting them back and standing right in front of them, not moving anywhere, they're just not as effective, you know? It's not a diss, that's just what I'm seeing. You know, I have nothing personal against these guys. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. And I'll see you guys later. Peace.